First of all, I just want to thank Todd for the introduction, and I've had a chance to get to know Todd over the years, admired him as a player years ago, and just does a first-class job, true professional. I'm thrilled he's going to be working at the Big Ten, so that's outstanding news for us. It's a real honor to be here. Glad to be back here, and certainly appreciate all of your interest in college football, and most importantly, the Big Ten. Like everybody, I'm sure that's going to stand before you today and tomorrow. Just really excited to begin the season, most importantly, begin camp, and then that'll spill into the season. Excited about our football team on top of this, and done this for a few years now, as Todd alluded to, but it seems like every year at this time, there's always an eagerness and anticipation, and that really doesn't ever change just to get started. So we'll begin practice next week. Certainly we'll learn a lot more about our football team at that time. Going back to January, our first team meeting mid-January when the guys got back. Really, it boils down to the same way each and every year. It's a new start. It's a new team, regardless of how many guys you have back or not. And it's all about building the team, and certainly whether it's a winter program, spring ball, the summer months, all those segments, all those phases have real value and importance, and really happy that our guys have, I think, put a lot of quality work in, happy with their focus, their energy, and I think we've given ourselves a chance to got a good foundation going. Hopefully we can do a good job in camp now and continue to build our football team. And it's really what camp is ready all about, continual individual improvement, but also getting the team game ready, something we don't focus on a lot until this time of year. And the other obvious thing about preseason, I think for true of every football team, you're always eager to see what good stories are going to emerge, what's going to develop as you go along. So we'll get started, as I said, next week. We've got 4 weeks to learn a great deal more about our football team, and looking forward to that. Again, about our team, every year is unique. This year, I think, has certainly been unique for us and probably everybody else in college football. We had a large number of newcomers, if you will, in January, 9 transfers. That's a first for us, certainly, and 4 more joined us in June. And, needless to say, that's just reflective of the way college football has gone, the way it's changing right now. And so we're learning as we go. Excited about the guys that have joined us, and all that does change, what doesn't change, our goals remain the same. It's just about having our players maximize their abilities and maximizing their opportunities. So that hasn't changed an awful lot. A couple words about our team. We're, offensively very veteran at the running back position, tight end position. I think we have 2 good veteran receivers, very different, but veteran guys that a return. Nico Reganey is practically a senior citizen. I think it's his 7th year with us, 8th year, good receiver. And then we've got Deontay Vines, who's probably our most established guy outside of Nico, who's been with us but hasn't been on the field a lot due to injury, and just excited to see him perform healthy this past spring, and eager to see him on the field. And then probably the 2 biggest differences, certainly we've got a new quarterback coming in Cade McNamara, and I think probably the most significant change on our team will be the maturity of our offensive line, and looking forward to watching those guys compete. Defensively, in a nutshell, we're fairly veteran up front on defense with our line, fairly veteran in the back end. And then, our area of interest mostly is at a linebacker position, graduating a couple of really good football players and good people there. Special teams, it's one of those rare years we have our punter, our kicker, deep snapper, and punt returner back, kick returner back, so it's a little bit rare there. And really, despite all that, really what counts is the work that we do here once we begin camp and go from there. So I'll open up for questions, but just in closing, just certainly want to take this opportunity to welcome Commissioner Petiti to the league. He's made a great impression, I think, already in a short time on all of us as coaches, that's for sure. Great to have him. I want to publicly thank Gary Barta for his service at Iowa, 17 years. Had the opportunity to work with Gary. He's been a good friend, and we've had a great working relationship. So I'm obviously very appreciative of that. Wish he and his wife Connie all the best moving forward, and want to welcome Beth Getz, our interim AD, who's been on campus now for almost a year, and already garnered a lot of respect from everybody she's interfaced with. So certainly great to have her with us, and again, appreciate all of your interest in college football, the Big Ten, and all that you do to cover the game. So I'll throw it out to questions.
All right, we'll start over here in the middle. Yep, can you get him his, yep. Just, you can hand it to him over the,
John Steppe, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Kirk, you have the sports gambling investigation looming. Do you have a sense of how many first team or second team guys could be affected by this? And how do you plan when you have that uncertainty, whether it's around Noah Shannon or others who may or may not be available?
Yeah, first of all, it's not a large number of players, period. And, long story short, we really don't know what the outcome's going to be. I don't think anybody condones gambling, especially on the college game. I do think, that being said, though, I've learned a lot in the past 2 months just about gambling. I really never paid attention to it, other than, we signed a form, and probably the same form we signed when I was playing. I think our world's changed dramatically. Anybody that does pay attention to gambling knows that better than I, certainly the last couple of years. We live in a real different world right now. I think what the NFL has done with their rules makes a lot of sense, and I'm hopeful this is an opportunity for the NCAA maybe to reconsider two things: what the quote-unquote punishments or penalties might be that are, I would say fair and relevant to the world we're living in right now. And then probably the bigger thing is there's an opportunity right now, I think, for a lot better education process, if you will. And, I'm kind of naive, and I apologize for not watching College Game Day, but I've got a son, my middle son, telling me the other day that, they cover lines on College Game Day before games. And, so it's just an illustration of the world we're living in right now. It's not going away. It's going to continue to grow. Certainly we want to educate our players and kind of compare it to maybe marijuana policies, those types of things. What you don't want is somebody to develop a problem or an issue. But, gambling's going to exist. It always has. And I hope eventually the policies will reflect, what's best for college athletics. Certainly, not betting on college athletics would be a good starting point.
Coach, we're going to go down here to our right.
Hey, Coach. Elliot Clough, Iowa.Rivals.com. Your MO with bringing new players in wasn't really based on the transfer portal prior to this year. What changed? Did something trigger you looking more towards the transfer portal this season?
Sure. Yeah, I think, the obvious answer is what's changed is our world. And we're living in a very different world as college football coaches than we were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So, there are examples in the past of transfers having great success and it working out for both parties. But, now the way we're operating now, it's just going to be part of the terrain, I think, moving forward unless we see change. So, we're just going to try to incorporate our same process, if you will, with it. And there's also some benefit to it. There's some advantages to getting guys that have played and competed already at a high level. I think the big thing, like all of us, whether it was in recruiting or now looking at the portal, you're trying to get players that are going to fit with what your program deems to be important. And so that was our process, and really feel good about it. It's a little scary, like bringing new players in is scary, whether they're high school prospects or college football players. But again, just can't say enough about the way the guys have transitioned into our program, and I want to compliment our guys that have stayed on campus that have helped with that. And I think that's a real key component to it also. Our guys have been very welcoming, and it's just all so far gone very, very well.
Coach, we're going to go to our left in the back.
Hi, Kirk. Scott Docterman with The Athletic. Your punter has a T-shirt that says punting is winning, and in some ways there is a correlation with his performance and your final result. Is there any way to quantify what Tory Taylor means to you, to your defense, and how successful he is in the end result?
Yeah, I mean, that's a two-parter. I really kind of learned the importance of a great punter. 1981, my first year ever at Iowa. And we were fortunate to have Reggie Roby, I believe, was a junior that year. As amazing punters I've ever seen. So his leg was a big part of the reason we were Big Ten champions that year and played in the Rose Bowl. And then certainly coaching in pro football really developed an appreciation for how punters can affect and impact the game. And, we're built, we're kind of a defensive-oriented outfit, if you will, and the value of having a great kicking game along with a solid defense gives you an opportunity maybe to have a little bit more success that way. So when we have a player of Tory's capabilities and talents, we're certainly going to try to utilize that in a smart way.
We'll go down here in front to our right.
All right. Coach Lynn Harrington with State Line Power 5. How you doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm all right. To follow up from what you said earlier, with Gary Barta, the athletic director, officially retiring August 1st, and Beth Goetz becoming the interim, can you talk about your relationship with Goetz, how you guys became closer and building towards, everything that's coming for the upcoming season?
Yeah, one thing I'd point out, Gary's retirement starts next week, I guess, and we've had 3 athletic directors since 1970. I believe I'm correct in saying that, and I think that's one thing that really makes our program unique. It's been real stability and leadership, and Beth has been on campus now 8, 9, whatever months, and again, everybody I've interfaced with that has worked closely with her says nothing but great things about her. People she's worked with in the past, whether it's Brad Stevens, Butler, right on down the line, all have tremendous things to say about her, and our meetings, interactions have been fairly limited compared to myself and Gary. That'll change now moving forward, but really excited to have her, and I think she's made a great transition to our place. I don't want to speak for her, but it seems like it was pretty seamless. So it seems like Gary made a great selection a year ago when he hired her, and we're excited to have her on campus.
And we'll go with our final question right here in the front.
Doug Maurice, the podcast. Kirk, you mentioned Cade McNamara coming in at quarterback, the experience on the offensive line. When you look back on the offense from a year ago, just what else did you learn from that? What might you change in terms of beyond personnel, what you guys are going to do offensively this season?
Yeah, we look to change and modify each and every season. You don't have to go that far back to find us having fairly good success. And again, I would couple that with, we try to do a good job on defense. We believe in defense. It's important to us. It has been 20 plus years. So that's the way we're wired and built. And our numbers have been, I think, pretty good offensively up until the last 2 years. I can get as granular as you want, and tell you about the injuries at receiver a year ago, how we look coming out of spring versus September. I could tell you about the offensive line over the last 2 years. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but there are reasons, and that's part of my job, is to assess those things in a rational, approach, if you will. And I feel like we've made the right steps. Time will tell. It's like everything else we do. Time will tell.
All right. Thank you, Coach.